Pouring milk into coffee, a seemingly simple action, led Hawking to an epiphany about the origin of the universe. If time could be reversed, the milk would return to its state before being poured into the coffee. Back to the starting point of the process, Hawking boldly proposed that time itself has a starting point, possibly beginning at the instant of the Big Bang. The professor was stunned by Hawking's viewpoint and encouraged him to prove his hypothesis mathematically. Hawking began tirelessly deriving formulas on the blackboard, finally arriving at his own theory. Eager to share his findings with the world, he stumbled unexpectedly. Doctors informed Hawking that he had motor neuron disease, now known as ALS. His muscles would gradually atrophy, eventually affecting his ability to breathe. At best, Hawking had 2 years to live. He was only 21 years old. Fear and despair overwhelmed him. Feeling as if the world was abandoning him, Hawking became depressed, isolating himself in a corner of his room, avoiding Jane's visits. He couldn't bear the thought of burdening her vibrant life with his illness, but Jane persisted.
I have 2 years to live. I need to work.
I love you. I want us to be together for as long as we've got, and if that's not very long, well then that's just how it is.
Giving Hawking the motivation to carry on, he approached his professor and decided on his research topic, time, which had become so precious to him. Soon, Hawking and Jane walked down the aisle. Not long after their marriage, Jane gave birth to their first child, and Hawking's doctoral thesis received unanimous approval from the professors. From that moment on, he was Dr. Stephen Hawking. Jane organized a celebration for him, but Hawking realized he couldn't even hold a spoon steadily. Watching the laughter and chatter at the table, he left, feeling disheartened. While climbing the stairs, Hawking saw his innocent young son and found inner strength once again. He understood that if he didn't stand on his own, no one could help him up. Hawking threw himself into his research with renewed vigor, presenting his findings to professors. His stunning insights left conservatives bewildered, causing some to walk out in frustration. However, many were astonished by Hawking's ideas, and he quickly rose to fame. The renowned Hawking radiation rapidly spread, but it didn't bring substantial changes to his challenging life. As Hawking's condition worsened and their children grew older, the complexities of life overwhelmed his wife, Jane. On her mother's advice, she joined the church choir, where she met Jonathan, who would become Hawking's best friend. Jonathan, who was single, offered to help care for the Hawking family. Although Hawking felt helpless, he understood Jane's struggles and accepted Jonathan's presence. Jonathan taught their children to play the piano and tended to Hawking's daily needs. His meticulous care eased Jane's burden, bringing a long-lost smile back to her face. This seemingly unusual arrangement persisted until the arrival of Hawking's third child. At the child's party, Hawking's mother questioned Jane about the baby's paternity, implying that Jane had been unfaithful. Jane was furious, hurt that her mother-in-law would think so poorly of her. Jonathan overheard their conversation and, to avoid suspicion, decided to leave. He had developed genuine feelings for Jane but knew he couldn't disrupt their family. Hawking witnessed all of this, and for the first time, the staunch atheist entered a church. He told Jonathan that Jane needed help. Shortly after, Hawking was invited to a concert in France, but instead of taking Jane, he asked Jonathan to take the family on a countryside camping trip. Everything was going according to plan until Hawking suddenly coughed up blood at the concert. By the time he was rushed to the hospital, he could no longer breathe on his own. Hawking was 43 years old when Jane arrived at the hospital. Doctors suggested removing the ventilator, allowing Hawking to pass away peacefully, but Jane